Happens to be Tuesday, February 4th, 10 a.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order. I've asked Scott if he would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Nick, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day, and we're thankful for the Board of Supervisors and for all the work that they have done for us. And we ask that you to give your spirit into them to help discern what is best for the county. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
And thank you, Nick. Good morning, Marin. We're starting off with you, presentation. Item 2A is presentation of Gila County General Fund financial data as it compares to the fiscal year 2025 Gila County budget and fiscal years 24, 23, 22, 21, and 20 year-to-date performance.
Yes,
Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Klein. Supervisor Humphrey, this is our monthly update for you. As you know, December brings us halfway through our fiscal year, so we would expect to be at approximately 50% of both our revenues and our expenditures. At the end of December, our general fund revenues were at 51% of the annual budget, and they are 1.7 million less than the same time frame as last year, which is attributable to the prior year's $3 million grant from the Department of Veterans Services. So we're still, if we hadn't had that grant last year, we'd be ahead of where we were. As far as expenditures go, we are at 47% of the budget compared to 50% target. And for the 6 months ended 12/31, our total expenditures are $633,000 more than the prior year. That is attributable to salaries and employee-related expenditures. And while we're here today, I would ask for your input on whether you want to continue to see all the years that we've been reporting on, or if you'd like a shorter window for your evaluation and comparison.
Okay, thank you. So let's ask that question. Supervisor Humphrey.
Supervisor Klein's the one that kind of, I think, wanted a lot of this information. I'm fine with the less.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm good with 5 years. I'm good with 2 years.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
You know, Marin, that you have been doing this now for a while, and it's been a really big help, and it's definitely let us watch the trend for all the years we've been in these chairs. If you want to shorten it up 2 or 3 years, go for it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think we've illustrated enough to the constituents to know that we continue to be where we need to be, you know. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, go for it.
All right, we will tighten it up a little bit, and if in the future you decide you want more or less, we can certainly accommodate that. I'm glad we've been able to consistently deliver this information, so you're not waiting until after fiscal year end to know where you were or are.
Yeah, thank you.
You do a great job, you and your people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so is that the end of the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for that. It really helpful to know that
Yeah.
we're in good hands.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you. All right. So, regular agenda items. Item 3A is information, discussion, action to elect a chairman and vice chairman of the Board of Supervisors for the term of 16 months, which will become effective immediately after this meeting today, February 4th, 25. Board of Supervisors regular meeting. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is an opportunity that we do every 16 months, that we give the Board of Supervisors the opportunity to change seats, so to speak. It's entirely up to you. There have been boards in the past prior to this 8 years that the chairman has sat on the board for longer than the 16 months, but it is entirely up to you what your preference is as to what you'd like to do, and with the chairmanship and vice chair on the Gila County Board of Supervisors. Up for your discussion, and your recommendations are call to action.
Thank you. And so it's been a pleasure to serve for the last 16 months. And so we're going to combine chairman and vice chairman into one motion.
Yes, that is, unless Mr. Albo has
Okay.
anything, we can certainly do that.
Okay, great. So I will call for a motion nomination process.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the nomination
Okay,
that we move Supervisor Humphrey into the chairmanship, and then I'll take the vice chair. That'll keep us on the rotation, on the 16-month rotation.
okay. Do we have a second? Okay, let's have some more discussion. Supervisor Humphrey, input, please.
Yeah, my input is I appreciate that very, very much, and I realize that it is my turn to be chairman. But right now, I'm entering into some projects that are gonna take quite a bit of my time, county projects that I'm wanting to work on. And so, I feel as if Supervisor Christensen has done a pretty good job of chair. And so if you were wanting to be vice chair, then I would make the motion for Supervisor Christensen to set as chairman again. I think you were in 2 years last time, or
I was,
two different.
no, we just hit one. Well, might have been.
Yeah,
Might have been.
and because Supervisor Christensen was new at that time, and so I think you sat in it twice. And so I'm comfortable with Supervisor Christensen being chairman and you being vice chairman, or vice versa, because like I say, with Tri-City Sanitation and some of the things that I want to spend a lot of time on, I would be happy stepping back for this go around.
So are you good with that?
I am
mean,
good with that. I've enjoyed it, and I am willing to serve any way I'm asked to serve, so I'm fine with it or without it. So,
That's
I mean, the little bit of pay raise that it yeah. I'm kidding.
Wait, there's a paper.
I'm kidding.
Wait.
So no,
Hold on here.
no. If I'm asked to serve as chairman another term, I certainly will accept that. So, but I'm not going to make the motion. So if you want to serve as chairman, you can do that too.
I'm in no hurry.
Well, somebody make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, to move forward, it's a good idea for Mr. Klein to withdraw his motion so that another motion can be made at
Okay.
the time.
Yes, and so I will withdraw my motion and let Tim make the next one.
Okay, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that Supervisor Christensen remain as chairman and Supervisor Klein as vice chairman for the next 16 months, and then we'll see where things go. But it needs a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for that, and so all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, aye, aye. Thank you, gentlemen, for your confidence.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your service to the county as a whole. You all are a pleasure to work with, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And, okay, let's move on to 3B, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 1 to a sub-recipient agreement number 21-AZD-OHS-HSGP-210307-01 between the Arizona Department of Homeland Security and the Gila County Emergency Management, extending the performance period to July 31, 2025. Good morning, Carl.
Morning, Chairman, members of the board. So this is that project that we had applied for Homeland Security funding to kind of proactively replace some of the equipment on Mount Ord and Signal Peak for our emergency alert system. Our equipment is currently functioning, but is a little bit past due date to be replaced. So this is a proactive measure to replace that equipment. This did require an environmental impact study and oversight from the Environmental Review Board by the Department of Homeland Security. It was discovered that both of our mountaintop repeaters are actually in a FEMA identified flood zone, ironically enough. So it did require some extra steps on their end, so they did offer us this extension that puts our period of performance till July of this year.
Okay, thanks, Carl. So this is the one we discussed,
Yes, sir.
been coming up for a few months, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
So are they gonna be more, in tune to getting that EIS done at a reasonable time frame?
Yes, so I believe the Environmental Review Board has given us the go-ahead at this point. So it did require some extra time, especially once it was discovered that they were in an identified flood zone. So we are moving forward.
And what kind of equipment are we talking about?
This would be the mountaintop repeaters, the civil defense repeaters, feed lines and antennas for those repeaters as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Carl.
Yes, thank you, Carl. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I will make the motion to approve amendment number 1 to Arizona Department of Homeland Security subrecipient agreement number 21AZ-DOHS HSGP 210307-01 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Carl. Item 3C, information discussion action to approve amendment number 1 to subrecipient agreement number 23-AZDOHS-HSGP-230-305-01 between the Arizona Department of Homeland Security and Gila County Emergency Management, extending the performance period to July 31st, 2025. Carl, what's the difference?
Thank you, sir. So this is additional funding for that same project. The project was initially awarded a $25,000 partial funding award. Upon reallocation, a few of the applicants for that grant withdrew their application, giving them some reimbursement or some additional funding to disseminate amongst recipients. So this project got an additional $14,000, which was able to actually get us the feed lines and the antennas that we had to trim off the original application. So this is additional funding for the same project. So it's extended to the same period of performance.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
So this will complete the project, this extra money?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Carl.
Okay, with that, then I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 1 to Arizona Department of Homeland Security subrecipient agreement number 23-AZDOHS-HSGP-230305-01 as presented.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Those that approve say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Carl. One more. We got 3D, information discussion action to approve the FFY 2024-25 hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant program funding agreement number EV 25-0028 with the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality in the amount of $10,000, which will be utilized to host an annual local emergency preparedness committee conference.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is the funding that we receive from ADEQ annually that helps us to provide our local emergency planning committee conference. And we're able to bring in a consultant to host that tabletop exercise and facilitate that. This is funded by ADEQ annually and has been a tremendous help for us in years past. And this is a continuation of that.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Supervisor Humphrey.
Again, I have no questions.
Mr. Klein.
I'm good, Carl, thank you.
Okay, me too. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality Agreement EV 250028 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Oh, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board.
All right, man, we're whipping through this here, Tom.
Good morning,
Are
Mr.
you,
Chairman.
are you a Homero this
I
morning?
am. Homero asked me to present
Okay,
this
good.
item.
So we have item 3E, information discussion action to adopt resolution number 25-02-01 for the extinguishment of a portion of the Outlaw Lane easement as shown on Exhibit A, which is included in the resolution. Tom?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. Again, Homero asked me to present this item. I brought our county surveyor, Scott Warren, in case there are any technical questions that I can't answer. He can probably answer them. This is a request to adopt resolution number 25-02-01 for the extinguishment of a portion of a county dirt road easement known as Outlaw Lane that is no longer necessary for public use. So a little bit of background information. Outlaw Lane was granted to Gila County as a county dirt road easement, recorded as document ID 2006-018607, Gila County Records, and was accepted by the Board of Supervisors by resolution number 06-10-12, recorded as document 2006-018607, as a county dirt road, and it is in the Gila County maintained roadway system. The residents at the west end of Outlaw Lane have petitioned the Board of Supervisors to extinguish this portion of the easement as it is no longer necessary for public use. The Board of Supervisors accepted the petition at its regular meeting on July 2nd, 2024, and unanimously declared a portion of Outlaw Lane no longer necessary for public use and directed staff to begin the process to extinguish the portion of the Outlaw Lane easement as shown on Exhibit A. Moving on to evaluation. The request meets the Gila County policy and procedure for the abandonment of county highways, local streets, avenues, alleys, and for the extinguishment of easements within Gila County. In conclusion, a portion of Outlaw Lane is no longer necessary for public use. The residents on Outlaw Lane understand and have agreed that, one, the roadway will be used for ingress and egress as defined in Exhibit B of the resolution. Number two, they assume the cost of maintaining the roadway, and number three, they assume the liability for the roadway. Upon Board of Supervisors approval, the county will no longer maintain this portion of the road. So it is recommended by our Public Works Director that the Board of Supervisors approve the extinguishment of this portion of the Outlaw Lane easement. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, this is one we've been working on for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's down there in Gila,
In Tonto Basin.
Tonto Basin. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay, yeah, Tonto Basin. Yeah, we've been working on that one for a while, so I'm glad to see it finally get up
Yes, sir.
in front of us, so thank you very much.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, very good, Tom. Thank you. With that, I'll call for motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 25-02-01.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to pull consent agenda item 4A for a separate review and vote. And then I'll proceed into the consent after that. Item 4A is approval of the applications for an extension of premises patio permit submitted by Camilla Alarcon to temporarily extend the premises where liquor is permitted to be served at the Old County Inn in Pine, beginning on March 14th, 25, through September 7th, 25. And the reason we pulled this is because I think we needed to discuss whether or not it should be on the consent, whether or not it's going through the right process, as Randy had an issue with it and that. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe and let him tell us what we're doing on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree that this matter needs to be dealt with by the board outside of the consent agenda for the reason that an interoffice memo that's included in the materials provided to the board was forwarded to the Director of Community Development Division on January 22nd, 2025, asking for the position of the department. At that time, and not until January 30th, 2025, did the director submit his disapproval of the item that would go, then be forwarded to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. The concern of the county attorney's office is that the agenda had been published by that time, placing this on the consent agenda, and someone looking at it, particularly the applicant, would have no idea that there had been a disapproval by the Community Development Division. And so to assure the due process rights of the applicant, I suggested that this matter be moved from the consent agenda for the board's full consideration. And I also asked Samantha to notify the applicant that the applicant could come to this meeting and go over a peer in pace, and if he so choose to discuss the recommendation by the Community Development Division. And with that, the board can now entertain the application and taking into consideration whatever the director would like to say to supplement the basis for the disapproval, then vote on that one way or the other. Regardless, the matter moves forward to the Arizona Department of Liquor License Control, which will then review the matter de novo before deciding whether or not to grant the application. But because of the timing, this needs to be dealt with as expeditiously as possible.
Okay, thank you. And so we do have the opportunity to vote it forward, approving it and voting it forward for the ultimate examination by the state.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's taking into account the record that's before you now and any statements either the applicant or the division care to make at this time. And having considered those, then the board can either approve or disapprove and make that recommendation to the State Department of Liquor Licenses and Controls.
Thank you. Randy, would you like to say a few words?
I met with the applicant yesterday, explained the violations. There's basically 3 sheds that got moved onto this property to be used for commercial use that were not permitted. He's addressing those now. He came in, paid all his fees, applied for all his permits, and meeting with the health department tomorrow, and is working towards compliance. I will tell you, this site's usually in compliance. There's usually not an issue here. They've done this extension of premises for several years. But at the time when I was asked to do the review, they were in violation. And that's why I wrote what I wrote. And but it seems that the applicant is moving forward. We still do have the hearing officer option if he was not to go through with what he said. But again, he had met me at the counter yesterday. We talked for about an hour, got all the stuff out on the table, and he understands what he's got to do. We gave him a 30-day time period to get that accomplished. He was 99% sure he could get that done even sooner, and he has paid all his fees. So with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey.
Okay, now, did I understand correctly that a copy of this was gonna go to the state, or no?
Mr. Chairman, if I can, what goes forward to the state is the board's recommendation.
Oh, okay.
You can choose to forward any supplemental materials that supplement the recommendation,
Okay,
but the recommendation goes forward.
okay, then this is something, if it's not approved today, once everything is in compliance, it can be brought back before the board, can it not?
Yes, sir, but he would miss some dates. He has a fundraiser for Humane Society, in March. Um, so he was wanting to make sure he could still do the fundraiser. Like I said, this has been going on for years. He's got all the fencing and everything required for the extension of premises. The violation is just zoning, and it was buildings, there was no permit. It has nothing to do with the actual extension.
Mr.
Then-
Chairman, that's the essence of, that will allow the board to vote, and if the board chooses then to forward a positive recommendation to the State Department of Liquor Licenses and Controls. Because as I understand it from looking at the diagram and listening to the director, it doesn't affect the area that will be covered by the extension that is being sought by the applicant from the state.
Could that also be approved on the condition that those, that the property, it will be approved providing that it'll be in compliance at some point in time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, rather than saying no, it can be a yes if they do as is required by our planning and zoning.
Again, all that, is the question, if they come into compliance, would I be more than happy to approve it? Yes.
Okay. And then I don't know how we would do that on a timeline to get the fundraiser in there and all the other stuff. I'm not quite sure if we did an approval, probably the repairs would not be done prior to the fundraiser, but the fundraiser is good for the community. So, yeah, I guess I'm searching for help to be supportive, but also be effective in getting it in compliance.
Mr. Chairman, as I understand it, the structures on the property that are not in compliance with the Gila County ordinance do not affect the extension that is being sought in the permit, and are outside of the permitted area, and the fence and the boundaries and all of that, as I understand it from the director, are approved. It's just that there are some outstanding issues with the rest of the property that are out of compliance with county code.
Okay.
If I misstated that, Mr. Director, please let the board
No,
know.
that is correct. The extension of premises area is all in compliance. Whereas outside of the extension of premises where the violations come into play. Again, is already applied for all the required permits and is working on, mitigating those issues outside of the extension area.
Oh, okay, asked and answered, thank you for the information. You know, and if what they're asking for is in compliance with the area, then I don't see an issue as long as they're working with you on the rest of it.
Supervisor Klein.
That's what I'm kind of unraveling here is if it's just the premises where they're going to have this, then yeah, I don't see why we can't go ahead and approve it. And Randy, it sounds like you guys are down the road already on the rest of those buildings and stuff, so it should all fall into place.
Okay, so I've gotten the impression that Randy is willing to move forward because things are in motion to come into compliance. So I will call for a motion then on item 4A.
Is that my turn or yours, Supervisor Klein? I think it's,
It's mine,
oh,
unless you want it.
yeah, it's fine.
I got it.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve the applications for an extension of premises patio permit submitted by Camellia Alarcon to temporarily extend the premises where liquor is permitted to be served at the Old County Inn in Pine beginning on March 14th, 2025 through September 7th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I will second.
Great, we have a motion and a second to approve item 4A. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. We'll move on to consent agenda items 4B through F. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like to remove any or all of those?
No, I'm good with the remaining
Okay.
consent agenda items.
Supervisor Klein?
Good.
Me as well, and so I'll call for a motion on consent agenda items approval for B through F.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Call to the public. Anyone here in Globe? No. We good up there in Payson, Lisa? Okay, and Cassandra, we're okay. Moving on to our summary of current events. Let's start with Manager Menlove.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, a few things to report. A couple weeks ago, I was at the Arizona City County Managers Association meeting and was able to spend a good amount of time with 8 representatives, APS. Had a report from them of the firefighting efforts that were recently in northern Gila County, and they commented of the water tanks that you as a board approved and have had put into place, and that they have pictures and evidence of how beneficial those water tanks were. Helicopters coming down, dipping out of those water tanks, and then using them for easy access to fight the fire in northern Gila County. So they promised me pictures. I haven't gotten them yet, so I'm going to have to follow up and see if we can't get those pictures from APS of utilizing our water tanks in firefighting efforts. We do have Gila County's birthday on February 8th. We will be 144 years old. There's a message that happy birthday wish to Gila County. Happy birthday, Gila County. At 144 years young, you are as beautiful and pristine as you've ever been, and continue to maintain all the grace and dignity that the founding fathers of our county could possibly have imagined. With less than 4% land, private land, we are grateful for your wide open spaces, the mountains, the valleys, and the abundant lakes and waterways. In our center, the azure blue waters of Roosevelt Lake, the state's largest body of water. They have stirred, inspired, and refreshed the senses of our residents, the state, and the world for many generations, and know they will continue to bless us for years to come. So happy birthday to Gila County. A great, and I think the most diverse and beautiful county in the state of Arizona, notwithstanding that big ditch they have in Coconino County. We've got our own that's just as spectacular here in Gila County.
Yes, we do.
I will say that I have a procedure that I will be undergoing on Thursday this week, and will be out from Thursday through the following till February 17th. And I was recovering from that surgical procedure, and during that time want to let you know that in accordance with county policy, Mr. O'Driscoll, Deputy County Manager for Gila County, has been given authorities of the county manager to act in my behalf during that time. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I attended a monthly team project meeting on the 29th, and that's Public Works, Engineering, Facilities on projects that we want to do in District 2 or are working on in District 2. I'll have a meeting with the road staff and management this afternoon at 1. Manager Menlove and Deputy County Manager, Mr. O'Driscoll, and Public Works in the shop. Last month, 3 different days, I think the 14th, 15th, and the 25th, I showed up at the yard in Tonto Basin at 6 in the morning, and I rode with the guys that were working out there at Gila, rode in the dump trucks, you know, and got on the loaders and just kind of looked at different stuff, and I did the same with the Globe Yard. And so that meeting this afternoon is just going to kind of be going over some of those things with, you know, information that I had gathered from the road crews and stuff that I felt I'd like to share with management. I was going to attend a blight meeting in Superior yesterday on the Copper Corridor blight, but Terry went. I had to be somewhere else, so I was unable to go. I'll hold a Tonto Basin community meeting this evening at 5. I'll hold a Gila meeting. That was supposed to be on the 8th, but they called and said that they're having to have a funeral, and so I think I moved it to the 22nd of this month. And then I'll hold a Roosevelt community meeting on the 10th and be on KQSS on the 10th at 5:30. And I want to thank very much for getting the under 50. I got it early, and so Marin, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be able to go over that and, you know, be able to look at it and kind of understand more what's going on before we go through it. So thank you very much for taking the time to do that for me. I appreciate it very much. And Mr. Chair, that's about all I have.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yesterday I was at the state capitol to present to the legislatures regarding a forest health and forthright success. So I was there on behalf of the county and ECO. It went well. They don't give you a whole lot of time to talk about anything, but handed them out some really good information on it, and thanked our partners that was involved and everything. So that did good. Last Friday, we received news that our bill for the Pleasant Valley Veteran Retreat Center was reintroduced by Congressman Crane, and yesterday we're notified that the House Natural Resource Committee sent the bill directly to the floor for a vote. So what we're thinking is because this is a third go around, that maybe it's gonna just breeze its way on through. maybe so.
Well,
That's what we're hoping, and so Senator Kelly's office is preparing their bill, and we'll be introducing it in the next couple of weeks, which they usually mirror each other. You know, they're right there. Representative Marshall has been awarded the Copper Shield Award from the Arizona Hall of Fame, and that is a group that honors veterans throughout the state in various different categories. We've had 2 other ones nominated or awarded as well, and that was Palmer Miller and David Campbell. But they reached out to me and asked me to do a video in behalf of Mr. Marshall that will be shown and presented during a May 1st luncheon. I don't know that I am going to be able to make that luncheon, but we'll see. I'll see what my dates are for sure. So I'll be going down there next week. I think it's Tuesday, to do that and put that video together and get that all set. Mr. Marshall's been a huge supporter of Gila County and all that we've done, along with Walt Blackman as well. And so I look forward to doing that. David's done a lot of work, and he deserves it. It's good. So with that, Mr. Chair, that's it.
Thank you. Legislative Policy Committee every Friday. So it was a little bit less this last Friday, but we don't have to review all of that, but still staying on track with that. And the governor came out with a Water Act. I don't know if you have seen this.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know the impact of it. It seems a little bit like we have local choice, which is good. I don't know really much about it. Need to figure out more about that. So water's always an issue. Be on KRIM tomorrow. Tom Goodman and Wayne Jones were on KMOG yesterday talking about the roads. They did a great job. Thank you for doing that. Gila County stays in front of the people, and it's really important. We're in the newspaper, we're on the radio, and that's good. Communication is always good. I've set up a pre-fire season meeting Wednesday, March 26th, so we'll send that information out if you'd like to attend. And also, I will be at the Capitol, I guess, on February 10th, next Monday. House Bill 2664 we're asking for $3 million for the sheriff's office and various upgrades and remodels that need to be going on there. So the sheriff and I will be there for sure to state our case. So I don't think I have anything else. I appreciate the confidence of you guys and continuing with the chairmanship. I'm good with that. So if there's nothing else, then we're adjourned.
You've done a good job, Steve.
Thank you.